The Lakers moved closer to a playoff berth after a 91-86 win over the Spurs last night. Dwight Howard had 26 points and 17 rebounds as the Lakers moved 1.5 games in front of the Jazz for the final playoff spot. So here's the question, Stephen A. You are in Los Angeles. You've been there. How impressed were you that they were able to win without Kobe last night?
Well, I was relatively impressed. Obviously, San Antonio could have played a better game. There's no doubt about that, Skip, Gary. But here's the reality of the situation. The Lakers were more desperate, and they played like it. Steve Blake came in, hit 4 big three-pointers in the second quarter. You look at a guy like Jody Meeks. He made his presence known. You look at Antoine Jameson, 15 key points off the bench, and including two pivotal three-pointers when it counted most. And Dwight Howard was a man last night, 26 points, 17 rebounds. Pau Gasol had an awful time shooting the basketball, but grabbed 16 boards as well. When you look at the 17 rebounds on the part of Howard, you look at the 16 rebounds on the part of Pau Gasol, you recognize that the Lakers played big. Now, obviously, Coach Mike D'Antoni really didn't have much of a choice because with Kobe out, with Steve Nash out, you clearly have to go the route of the big boys of Dwight Howard and Pau Gasol. And they played big, which is what they needed to do and what they will need to do in order to make any noise, not just to win Wednesday night in the season finale against Houston, but also to make some noise in the first round before they go home. So it's one of those situations right now where you look at it and you say Kobe being out was just devastating. I had a very difficult time sleeping Friday night watching that take place. But knowing that Dwight Howard, who was under immense pressure last night to produce, showed up and did the kind of stuff he's capable of doing, I think on that level alone was incredibly important and impressive for the Los Angeles Lakers, because not only did they do what they need to do, but they got production precisely from where they needed to get the production from in order to win another game and try to solidify that 8th playoff spot in the Western Conference. So I think it was impressive.
Stephen A. Smith, I hear what you're saying, but big picture, I put little to no stock in what I saw last night from Kerry's Los Angeles Lakers. Love the spirit with which they played. Love the way they battled on offense and defense. But Stephen A., can we be honest right out of the box today? As much of a basketball tragedy as Kobe Bryant was on Friday night, my San Antonio Spurs are a sad disaster right now. They are hapless. That they were a pushover for what's left of the Lakers last night. The Spurs scored 86 total points against the Lakers, not exactly known for playing defense. And as you know, Stephen A., Coach Popovich just had to cut Steven Jackson for insubordination, sent him home, and he was highly loved and respected in that locker room, which is very shaken up right now. Boris Diaw out with back surgery. Manu had torn hamstring, gone for who knows how long. Tony Parker, I keep telling you, Stephen A., is a sad shell of himself. He should not be playing on a wrecked ankle. He has no burst, can't get in the lane anymore, can't get any lift on his jump shot. He shoots 1 for 10 and gets pulled the last 9 minutes of the game because he was pathetic. And Steve Blake outscored Tony Parker in the first half 18-2. Stephen A., how can I read anything into this? The Lakers should have won this game. Dwight should have done, even against the great Tim Duncan, still plays at a pretty high level, should have done what he did. And yet, in the fourth quarter, tie game, going to the fourth, Antoine hit 3 out of 3 threes. Jody Meeks hit 2 big threes. Keep doing that, at least you can compete like that. But do I, long term, am I saying, wow, they're going to push the Thunder in the first round? I'm sorry, I can't see it.
Well, you know, I don't blame you for saying that, Skip. I can't just dismiss that. And just some news for you. In the Spurs locker room, coming out of the Spurs locker room at the beginning of the game, Tony Parker's coming off the court. He's walking towards the locker room, stopped and had a few words with him. Skip, he's just trying to make it through. I mean, it's one of those situations where he literally was like, look, man, the playoffs, I'm just trying to get myself ready for the playoffs. And that's why I predicted that the Lakers would win the game before they actually played it, because even though I know San Antonio is better, I just didn't believe coming into this game, even though the number 1 seed is on the line, and even though the Lakers would appear to be a better matchup for them than a Houston or a Golden State, rather, the reality is that the level of urgency was lacking. There's just no other way to slice it. Tim Duncan you get what you get from him. You see it, Skip.
He gave it all last night.
No question.
Yep.
But with Tony Parker, I'm not trying to imply that it wasn't maximum effort, but you just get the feeling like he was just trying to be safe. He wasn't going all out because he's still ailing. He's still hurting. It's still a struggle for him. And he doesn't want to sit there and do anything to really jeopardize whatever he can give you come postseason time. And I think that's what you saw yesterday.
Stephen A., you were there pregame. How much pressure was building on Dwight's broad shoulders going into that game?
It was immense. Skip, it was immense because of a couple of things. Number one, Dwight Howard has impending free agency. Number two, it's clear he wants a max deal, which is a 5-year, $117 million deal, okay? Number three, we all know that he wants the ball, and he believes in an inside-out scheme where the big boy is the focal point and he feeds everybody else around him, whereas that was not going to happen with Kobe Bryant on the floor. So what you have is a situation is that with Kobe Bryant being out, everybody in L.A. was like, okay, now this is what you wanted. This is what life without Kobe would be like. This is your chance to show what you've got and to show what you bring to the table. So he was under immense pressure. I give him a lot of credit because you really couldn't tell from talking to him or looking at him and seeing him. You really, really couldn't tell. But the pressure was definitely immense on him. To some degree, it was on D'Antoni as well, but more so on Dwight Howard because everybody in the arena was like, all right, this is what we've got. Who are you? What are you made of? You're supposed to be the big boy that wants the max deal. And then it didn't help that Magic Johnson, one of, if not the greatest Laker ever, was right across the street saying, what you got, Dwight Howard?
Yeah,
what you got, D12? What are you bringing?
Stephen A., in your opinion, do you think Dwight Howard is ready to handle this? He's saying, okay, let me try it. But do you agree with everything you saw last night and listening to the kids in the locker room, how they feel about Dwight? Is he ready to handle this pressure?
No. I will tell you this. Dwight Howard is a big-time player. I think he's the best big man in the game. The problem is, and I think he's going to come to realize this, without Kobe, you're going to be looked upon for everything, not just your numbers in terms of your points, your rebounds, your block shots, not just with being the best big man in the game, but there's a different level of culpability and responsibility that comes with being a part of the Lakers. Kobe was willing to accept that and embrace it. So was Shaq. So was Magic. All of those guys. Dwight Howard's personality. Like I said, I don't knock him, Skip, for being playful and all of this other stuff the way everybody else does. I truly believe you got to be comfortable within your own skin. But there is something to be said about accepting the mantle that is that of the Los Angeles Lakers. Like, you're the guy. And to me, all I'm going to tell you is this. Is he worth the money in terms of numbers and level of production and impact on actual wins and losses in today's NBA market? Yes. But you need another star with Dwight Howard. And you need a star that's willing to step in front of the camera and to really speak his mind or to say whatever it is on behalf of the Lakers, because especially if you're succeeding Kobe Bryant, you're not a predecessor, you're a successor. You can't go from Kobe to Dwight as a leader. You've got to get somebody else to play that leadership role.
All of which is why, to me, Stephen A., these next few games for Dwight without Kobe could convince Dwight he doesn't belong in L.A. long term.
Yeah. All right, well, to be
they're saying he wants, just so y'all know, especially you, Kerry, they're saying that he wants to stay. I happen to know that in a perfect world, he wants to stay. But I also, and here's the thing, let me make a little news right here. This is very important, y'all. When he wants, even though he wants to stay, do not rule out the possibility that the Lakers may be forced to make a decision as to who they want to coach this team next season if they want to re-sign Dwight Howard.
So you're saying,
I'm not saying it's definite, but it's possible.
Well, so you're saying if Dwight wants to stay, D'Antoni may have to go.
I'm telling you that Dwight Howard may very well go to somebody this summer and say, look, I don't know if who's going to be coaching this team next season. Is it going to be somebody that's going to throw me the ball? He might ask that question.
All right, let's move